Resident Evil 4 likely requires no introduction at this point. It's not only one of the most beloved games of all time, not only one of the most influential games ever made, but maybe one of the most ported games of all time. If you're watching this video, chances are it's on a device that could, in theory, be playing Resident Evil 4 right now. With both the original release and the remake in 2023, there are two versions of RE4 currently available that are both absolutely stellar. So that's the end of the conversation, right? It doesn't really matter which version you play as long as you get your fix. Well, to a degree, yes, but there are ways we can make it even better. One of the things Resident Evil 4 popularized is the QuickTime event, or QTE for short. You've likely seen these in games like Sonic Unleashed, Yakuza, Shenmue, etc. They primarily show up in particularly cinematic moments as a way of keeping the player engaged and on their toes. In the Ultimate HD Edition's 60 FPS, most of them carry over fine. They do, however, double the inputs needed to successfully pull them off, and this can be particularly annoying in sections like the end of Salazar's castle. The game can also struggle a bit at higher resolutions, like my monitor's 3440 by 1440. It's an incredibly minor thing in the grand scheme of things, but especially if you're someone who started with the remakes, the game can feel a little lacking in the cosmetics department, some just general visual improvements and restoring features that were broken from the game's original GameCube release. Now, don't worry, this isn't quite as bad as something like Sonic Adventure DX that makes the game significantly worse over different versions or anything. The HD ports are like 80 to 90% intact, just something to make an already great game even better. How can we improve these things? Well, the answer is simple: the Resident Evil 4 HD project and RE4 tweaks. If you aren't aware what this is, let me explain. The Resident Evil 4 HD project is a fan-made overhaul of the 2014 HD release of the original 2005 game. It updates every single texture and asset in the game to be higher quality and is, in essence, as close as we're going to get to an official remaster. So much so that the project has been promoted by Capcom itself. It's quite a significant achievement. If you thought 2023's remake was too different, this may just be the solution for you, as it's the full same original game, just prettier and more built to last on modern displays. But wait, there's more. RE4 tweaks adds a whole new dimension to this. Are you someone who really liked being able to play with the alternate costumes in the remake? Well, you don't get them exactly, but you can mix and match the costumes of Leon, Ashley, and Ada. Want Leon's regular outfit, Ashley's popstar outfit, and Ada's Resident Evil 2 outfit? Want Leon's jacket, Ashley's night armor, and Ada's spy outfit? This can lead to some weirdness in cutscenes, but honestly, small price to pay for keeping that sick jacket for longer than a chapter. You can even introduce your own quality of life improvements, like increasing the field of view, or automatically skipping the QTEs entirely if you really aren't feeling them. It goes a really long way to modernize Resident Evil 4 while also retaining the rest of the game's core identity. I cannot stress enough just how fresh these small little tweaks like quieting Ashley's night armor can make the game feel, especially if you've played and beaten it literally dozens of times like I have. Installation can look super complicated, but it is actually very simple. Just download all the files, either from the mirrors or the Mega or MediaFire links, launch the installer, launch the game on Steam, click yes, and you're done. You have your unofficial HD remaster of Resident Evil 4. There are still some visual oddities at higher resolutions, but there's no real avoiding such things in ultra-wide resolutions for most games, least of all ports of 2005 GameCube games, but also, like, there's nothing wrong with 1920 by 1080. The game still looks and runs great in 1080p, so if it bothers you that much, there's nothing wrong with bumping it down. And that, to me, is the best way to play Resident Evil 4, the original version at least, in 2026 and beyond. The game still plays like a dream and is still easily in my top 5 favorite games ever made, and this is just another great way to add to the many ways I have to play it. You don't need me to tell you just how great this game is, but hopefully this gets more eyes on a super cool, super impressive mod.